The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Well, you found the Local Show, which means you're really bored today, aren't you? Somehow you stumbled on this thing.
Well, this time of year, it's warm, it's hot, it's warm, it's hot.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the lawn. No, I'm going to shovel snow. No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's a box of chocolates.
We went out into the backyard during the week, and
did you bring the grill out? Did you bring that smoker? What is that?
You know what? I didn't get a chance to bring the grill in.
So it was out there all year?
I left it out there all year, and it's standing strong and proud. You wouldn't even know that it went through the winter.
So listeners, to know Tom's grill is freaking amazing. What is that thing?
I forgot. I can't remember now.
Yeah, it's got it's amazing. That big, huge thing.
It's a skillet.
I love that thing.
Yeah.
Is it a Blackstone?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, the Blackstone.
Yeah.
And but you know what? What I didn't like is that we used some degreaser on it. The degreaser that says Blackstone on it, on the bottle.
Yeah. What happened?
All the numbers and all the letters and everything came off with one cleaning.
Well, it's pretty good.
Well, I told my wife, I said, why don't you call and complain? We never do any of that stuff. And I wanted her to so we could get different knobs and new stuff. I still may look into that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway. But we went out into the backyard was my point.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 dogs. So it is landmine heaven. I wish Gene's Canine Waste Removal was still in business.
They were number 2 business, weren't they?
Number 1 and the number 2.
Yeah.
So there you go. Well, here's a guy who's just number 1. Yes. We're not going to put you in number 2. It's Mike Woodford. He's the owner of Woodford Barn Repair. How are you there, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Good. I saw a dilapidated old barn. My wife is in real estate. So she had sold a house to a guy out in...
Oswego County somewhere?
Yes, was it? Yes. How'd you guess?
I just imagined. I don't know. Call me crazy.
It's out there in Oswego County, and I think it was right off of Route 104.
Of course it was.
So we're traveling down there, and I saw these 2 barns that were just wrecks, and I said to my wife, I go, hey, that's what Mike Woodford does. He could repair that thing. I imagine it would probably be like $30,000 or more.
Probably. But if a roof collapses, is it over? I mean, do you just mop up the pieces, or because what's going on? Because there was a lot of snow. You've been, I'm sure, experiencing a lot of folks with those challenges.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, we've repaired a lot of barns where the roofs have collapsed. So we've gone in and reconstructed the roofing system and new roofing on it.
Yeah,
and that works. It's just it's a numbers game. You decide what it's going to cost to fix the building as opposed to potentially tear it down and replace it.
Would you do that? Like if the thing was totally dilapidated and caved in on itself, would you start from square one?
Yeah, we're doing a project now out in Sharon Springs where the barn literally about a third of the building was just beyond repair. There was nothing good at all in there. So the first order of business was to take that down and get it off the structure, and then we were repairing the remaining 2/3 of it, which are in decent shape. And the guy just really wanted to save it, so there we are. That's what we do.
What have you noticed over the years? Because you've been doing this for how many years?
Well, personally?
Yes, personally.
Since he was a boy.
Yes.
I have pictures of me at job sites when I was like 8 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
We'd get dragged to sites all the time when I was a kid.
So, over 50 years you've been doing this.
Yeah, it's been over 50 years.
Yeah. So, have you seen the refuge prices go up, because you have to get rid of all this stuff, right? You don't make the homeowner.
And that's part of the cost.
Yeah, that's got to be part
right.
Of the
if you got to haul it away.
Yeah, it's a negotiated item. If we're out in the country and some folks out there, they'll cut the material up and make it small enough so it's manageable, and they'll burn it.
Oh, they can burn, yeah.
And we look the other way. I'm sure some stuff gets buried, but we don't do it. We can't as a company do anything like that. But the homeowner gets away with a lot if they want to.
But if you have to haul that away, have you seen prices go up in that world? Or,
it stayed pretty steady. What's really driving those costs up is trucking and that sort of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
The tipping fees, which is the cost directly associated with the material that you take to a landfill. I don't think that's gotten crazy high in the last few years. It's stayed pretty constant.
Right. So it's kind of math. So you got a collapsing barn or one needs to be fixed.
Right.
You do the math, because to build a new barn is going to cost you $300 or $400 or whatever $1,000, and if someone's got to spend $50 or $100 to fix it, it's actually they're way ahead, even though the repair is expensive.
Right. Well, there's a few factors. We call it an intrinsic value. These structures that we're working on are timber frames, so they were built, 100 to 200 years ago. So there's a historic value there that you're just not going to have if you tear it down and put back up a pole barn. And another thing that we used to tout, and it's still true, older buildings like that have been on the tax records for forever, and they're pretty well depreciated right off of the tax rolls.
Right.
So you're not paying a lot for taxes on these older structures on a property. Where if you tear it down and put up a brand new one, you're going to get reassessed for a new structure on your property and pay more property.
And when
tax.
you just fix it up, even though it's mint, when you're done with it, they don't pay as much in taxes.
They don't, because we've for the most part, we're not changing the structure. We're just going in and reinforcing what's there and making it back up to reasonable standards.
And if they had bought or created a new barn and built a new one, that would go back on the tax roll. So there's a serious savings there in the long haul.
Yeah, and the thing that we have in New York State that's only common to New York State is we have a 25% state income tax credit. So any building that was built before 1936 that you put money into and restore, an outbuilding like a timber frame barn or a barn like that, you can take 25% of that cost off of your state income tax. And if it takes a couple of years to roll that over and use it all up, it's available to anybody out there who wants to.
Because they're trying to cause people to preserve things.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the state of New York had the state barn grant program that ended about 10 or 12 years ago. And there was some pitfalls with it, but in large part it did a lot of good things. But after that was over with, they rolled out this 25% state income tax credit, which is just so much easier, user friendly for the folks who want to try and take advantage of it, and it's available to anyone.
Because they're a secondary purpose for a silo. I see these old silos. I think they're really cool, and they don't use them. It just seems like, I don't know, could you put a missile in it or something? Is there something you could do with this?
Do you fix silos?
It's funny you asked that. Just this week, we fixed a wooden silo.
Really?
It was an old Unadilla wooden silo that was tipped over. It had probably leaned over about 2 feet at the top, and we went in and used our magic and we pulled it back straight, and then we put a bracing system inside of it to reinforce it to hold it there. And the people that we're working for, it was purely aesthetic. They're not going to use the structure as a silo ever again. They just loved the way it looked and wanted to preserve it. So that's what we
I miss silos. I also miss cabooses on trains. You see the train, and as a kid, I would always wait to see the caboose.
Yeah.
There's no cabooses anymore.
No.
So we grew up next to the railroad tracks. We actually got to ride on a caboose one time.
Yeah,
that's fun.
But don't tell anybody in the
No. We will tell the 75,000 listeners.
So, we could go down the road and make up all sorts of questions and everything, but is there a particular topic you want to cover? Anything that you want to talk about?
Well, for us, we about 2 years ago, I left Woodford Brothers and went out and became Woodford Barn Repair, which really wasn't any sort of a change for me. I've been doing exactly this for 50 years.
Right.
It's just now I'm not doing the stuff that Woodford Brothers does with all the residential basement stuff.
Sure.
So now I'm focusing just entirely on barns. And the one thing that we're kind of running up against, particularly this year, is that there's a lot more demand than I have capacity right now. So we're really filling up fast with our schedule. So anybody that we're talking to, we're definitely making sure that they're aware that they need to move forward with us if they want to get something done this year.
Good. And you guys have the mileage and the reputation, and you know how to do it.
Right.
It isn't like, Tom, you and I can fix that thing. So they can call, folks can call with questions, 653-2276. Does that sound like a good number?
Yeah, that's 1-800-OLD-BARN.
Okay, or 1-800-OLD-BARN. That might be easier.
Right.
WoodfordBarnRepair.com. WoodfordBarnRepair.com. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Thank you.